So Project Burn Barrel's just about got to the point now where I need to start looking at the front suspension. And what we have here is a 87 Cadillac front frame and a 91 Grand Merc front frame. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to use the spindles off one of these. Now each one of these has its pluses and minuses. Ford to Ford is usually a big bonus that we can use a lot of the Ford parts on the Ford car, which would be that one right there, the back one. But the advantage of running the GM stuff is that it can run the GM big Chevy bolt pattern. So I'm not exactly entirely sure which one we're going to try to use, but I might just try to take them both and see what I can do. I am not sure. Overall, I think the GM kind of looks a little bit stronger. They both look like they take the same kind of setup for the spindles as in ball joints. But we're going to pull them both out and we'll take them both apart. And then we'll try installing them inside this car to see which one's best. Because honestly, I don't know. So let's start trying. Okay, let's try that. Tighten this up. See if we can get this one. Oh, caught on the fuel line. Get this out. So now that we got both of these frame sections dragged out, one being a Cadillac, one being a 91 Crown Vic, we're going to try to take one driver side spindle and one passenger side spindle from this collection of parts we have here. Then we will try to install these parts onto the Crown Victoria in the shop, which is a 2007. Once they're on the vehicle, I'll see if they're both able to go on. I will give a camber angle, I will give a height opinion, I will give a couple different scenarios on which one I think is better. And just from the looks of it, this GM one here, it looks like it has a thicker top ball joint mount. As you can see, the brake caliper is joined into it, and it looks like it comes together as one unit. But on the Ford one here, it does not look like that. It looks like a single unit that goes up a much higher, and it looks like it might have an option of braking as it goes up that much higher. But the other option is that this is a higher angle than that one. So maybe that might play into the camber, I'm not sure. So let's start taking these apart and see what we can bring inside the shop here. So now that we got those spindles off, which are just right over there on the ground, we're going to start installing them on here. We're going to start with the driver's side first, see how it goes, and then start on the passenger side. And once both of them are on, we're going to sit it down and choose which spindle we think looks best. So once we have the ball joints removed, which we're just going to remove this one with a hammer, give her a smack there. What we had to do is the factory mount for these ball joints were in the downward position like this, which works great for the 2003 and newer spindles, but for the older spindles, the ball joint has to be mounted on the top. So what we did was we just ground this down with a grinding wheel or a buffing pad, and then we reinstalled it just like this, and we put the original snap clip back on the bottom. We will put a line of weld around this, so once these ball joints are in, they're not going to be removed ever again. So let's get this ball joint installed, and it will look like this. This side has the GM spindle installed and the ball joint flipped. So let's get the Ford one installed. We'll get some tires on and see how it looks. There you go. We have both spindles inside this car now. Passenger side is a GM spindle. Driver side is a Ford spindle. Now, there's a couple things about these that I like and don't like. Something that I don't know what is better. The Ford actually lifts the upper ball joint above the tire. So if you get hit, it's going to want to come in and actually hit the tire and pop it. Now when you come to the GM ball joint, it actually sits at about the same height as the rim. Now these are 15-inch rims. So if you get hit, it's going to come in and just hit the rim. So it will not pop the tire. Tie rods are going to have to be modified because they are too long for the situation that is needed. Even if you take them right into the minimum of the thread, they're still going to be too long. I don't know, the GM one just looks a little bit more robust than the Ford one. Another thing is, on this Ford, the top ball joint is actually very, very loose, and it's got a lot of play inside of it. Now, when you look at the outside of the tires here, the Ford one actually does stick out now past the fender, but the GM one sticks out even farther. So I'm not very happy about how far that sticks out, but I'm going to have to live with that, I guess. It could also be that these rims are a different offset than the factory rims. I bet you if I was able to throw the factory rims back on it, the offset would change. But, so there you go. Spindle swaps. I'll get a little bit more into depth about what spindle I'm going to use. But what spindle do you guys think I should use? Do you think I should use this GM one out of a Cadillac? Or should I use this Ford one out of a Grand Marquis, a 91? It's up to you guys. Just let me know.